Number one, how does a sex cell differ from a body cell? Go.
D.
The answer you say is D. The sex cell has half the amount of genetic material of the body cell. That's correct. What else could it be? What's the other thing that's different between a body cell and a sex cell?
A.
Well, let's go. First of all, let's be clear. B is not true. None of the others are true. Sex cells don't have homologous chromosomes. By definition, they have half the DNA, right? You get rid of one of them. Remember, what are the homologous chromosomes? There's chromosome number 1, right? And there's chromosome number 1. Those are homologous. Sex cells, by definition, get rid of one of those chromosomes. Remember, we said we get one from mom and one from dad. And via meiosis, when we make those sex cells, eggs or sperm, we're getting rid of one or the other. So that's sex cell, that sperm or egg is only going to have either the mother or the father's, your mother or your father's chromosome for each of the 23 randomly chosen. So we know for a fact it's not B. We know that the answer, the sex cell does not contain chromosomes. That's ridiculous. That's not a possibility, right? Sex cells a sex cell has the same number of chromosomes as a body cell. No, because if you said D, then I don't know how you could choose anything else, right? So the answer, yeah, is correct. It is D, and let's move on. I hope you understand that, right? If not, go back and look at the video we posted yesterday that where we went over meiosis and talked about the differences between mitosis and meiosis. Clearly described it for now 2 weeks. So please know the difference, because tomorrow you will get an exam that goes over these questions. How does a chromosome at the end of meiosis 1 compare with the chromosomes at the end of meiosis 2? So chromosomes have two chromatids at the end of meiosis 1, and at the end of meiosis 2, they have one chromosome. That is correct. That's like the whole point, right? That's the whole point of meiosis. And remember, again, I don't want to go over this whole thing, but just as a quick reminder that when we're going through meiosis 1, during prophase 1, the homologous chromosomes form a, what is it called? What's it called? What's this called with 4 chromatids? Tetrad. They form a tetrad. And in that tetrad, I want to remind you that again, in meiosis 1, what happened in prophase of meiosis 1, what happens? In this tetrad, during prophase, while they're connected, what happens? A word. Huh? They're condensed. They're together. They formed a tetrad. Now what happens? Now they've been duplicated in S phase. Somebody said it, I think. Crossing over. We get part of this DNA gets switched with part of that DNA, and you get and you end up with something that's like this. You remember that? You drew it in your cards, guys. You're switching. You have crossing over happening in meiosis 1. Making 4 different chromosomes. Do you see that there are 4 different chromosomes here now? There's one version here. Now there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. Do you see how they're different? Yes or no? If you don't, you're not going to do well tomorrow. So make sure you understand that at the end of meiosis 1, you're going to separate the homologous pairs, the chromosomes that are together. You're not separating the sister chromatids. So at the end of meiosis 1, what you're going to end up with is 2 cells, and in the nucleus of these cells, and obviously they're not to scale, you're going to have 1 pair of chromosomes. They're still connected. Do you see that? The sister chromatids are still connected, but what's key is that there's going to be some serious genetic differences. You're going to have, oops, that's not right. You have some serious genetic differences. You see that those two are not the same. That even though you have mom and dads are separated because the homologous pairs are separated, the sister chromatids stay together, that's true. But then even those that are together are slightly different because of crossing over. So when you end up in the end with how many? What's the end of meiosis 2? This is what you have at the end of meiosis 1, right? There's 2 sister chromatids in each cell. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What do you have at the end of meiosis 2?
4.
You have 4 cells because you're going to have division again. But you're not duplicating you're not going through the cell cycle again. You're not doing S phase again. You're skipping S phase. So you're not duplicating the DNA. But then you're going to have, this is going to be 2 cells from this one and 2 cells from this one. So maybe I should redraw this arrow, since what's happening here is this cell is splitting, right? And this cell is splitting. And in this cell, you're going to have a chromosome that's going to be all 100% mom's DNA, your mom's DNA. That's your egg cell if you're a lady, or sperm if you're a young man. And that chromosome came 100% from your mother. That sperm, I'm going to make a sperm, that sperm came 100%, has 100, for that chromosome number 1, is your mother's chromosome number 1. Are we clear? Then this sperm over here has mostly your mother's DNA and then some of your dad's DNA because they're crossing over. And then this sperm over here, because it's a different cell, has mostly your dad's DNA and then some of your mom's DNA where what? Crossing over happened, right? Yes? And then lastly, this sperm over here has mostly is 100% your dad's DNA because it didn't cross over. 2 of them didn't cross over, 2 of them did. So now you have 4 sperm that each one is genetically different. That's really important that you understand that. So 4. Tetrad leads to 4. So the end of meiosis 1, at the end of meiosis 1, you have 2 sister chromatids connected together for all 23 pairs. At the end of meiosis 2, you only have 1 chromosome, 1 chromatid for each chromosome. There's only one, there's no homologous pairs. Here you still have 2 chromosome number 1s. It's just 2 of them from mom, 2 of them from mom, 2 of them from dad, with a little bit of mix-up on one of the sister chromatids. Are we clear? All right, I hope that's clear, because that should be, at this point, I don't know what else to say. So, chromosomes have 1 chromatid at the end of each meiosis. That's not, obviously the rest of these are wrong. I don't have to go through that, right? Based on what I just said, that should be clear. The diagram shows a cell during the anaphase stage. Obviously, anaphase, separating the 2 chromatids, right? They're separating the 2 chromatids. Of mitosis. So that explains why the chromatids are being separated, not the homologs, right? Justin's teacher showed him a slide of a stage in mitosis. He noticed that the slide contains 2 homolog pairs of chromosomes. How would this diagram be different if it showed anaphase 1 of meiosis instead of an anaphase of mitosis? What would be different? Each chromosome would still have 2 chromatids. If it was meiosis 1 of, if it was stage, anaphase 1 of meiosis, right? Then these would have 2 sister chromatids. Is that correct? It's exactly what I just said, isn't it? Yeah. Didn't I literally just say that? If you didn't get that, go back and review this video when I post it and understand why meiosis 1, again, taking a look at this, after meiosis 1, you would have 2 sister chromatids, not 1. Because the tetrad is separated. All right. And what are the other options here? Let's take a look. Just to be clear, there might be more than one right answer. The chromosomes would look the same as mitosis. Well, that's not correct. Again, I'll reference you back on what I just stated. You would be able to see DNA in the chromosomes during meiosis. What? All right. Homologous chromosomes would be moving at the to the same end of the cell. Okay. So they move the opposite. They always move the opposite. So these two here are chromosome number 1. These are sister chromatids. These are both chromosome number 1. These are homologous chromosomes. During meiosis, these all form a tetrad, right? During anaphase of meiosis 1, this homologous chromosome goes in this direction. This homologous chromosome goes in that direction. They move in opposite directions. Because you need one chromosome for each of the 23 pairs of homologous chromosomes. You need one in each new cell. Is that clear to everybody?
Yeah.
So that's why D is wrong. Are we all good? Is there any questions so far? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. Diagram below shows a human cell. It's what kind of cell is it? It's a sex cell. That's correct. What else? Can somebody tell me what else it is? It's a sperm? Has, what else do you know about it? Quick, yeah?
The tail is full of mitochondria.
Yes, what else? It is flagella, that's correct. What else? Have the number of chromosomes. And some of the chromosomes have been recombined. You have recombined DNA because of crossing over that happened before you made the sperm. Yes? During meiosis 1. All right. So it's not a body cell. That's wrong as well. Oh, I put red. That was wrong. Sorry. So it's not. It is a sex cell. It is not a body cell. The cell is about to go through mitosis. That's not true. It won't go through mitosis until it's gone. It will never go through mitosis. It will go and find an egg, or it will die. That's the only choice it has. The only way it keeps surviving is it doesn't have any Golgi body. It doesn't have endoplasmic reticulum. It doesn't have anything other than a nucleus. It's literally a rocket with some DNA in the center and some mitochondria in the tail with some actin and myosin to allow the flagella to move. And it's just trying to find an egg. If it doesn't find the egg, it dies. It's the only purpose a sperm has. Deliver its DNA to its target. That's it. A cell's about to go through meiosis. No, it's not going to. It just finished meiosis, right? It finished meiosis and then spermatogenesis, and it's done. So that's not right. Amanda is. Do you see why I was expecting 100% on this test? Is there anything here that was confusing? If you know meiosis and mitosis, is there anything here any question that's not fair? Anything? Guys, come on. Participate. With anything? Anything that's not fair? Yes or no? No, it's not. There's nothing here that's not fair. Amanda is making a poster to describe 2 types of cell division. She draws an outline of a human body on the poster. Amanda wants to show diagrams of mitosis and meiosis, zooming out the different parts of the body where they take place. Which of the choices correctly shows the location of each for a type of cell and cell division? Shows the location for a type of cell division. What do we got? Guys, talk about it quickly. 30 seconds. You should be able to answer this quickly. All right. Which one's right? C is correct. That's right. See, everybody knows it now. Why didn't you know? Should have known it during the practice test. All right, so bone, obviously no, meiosis only happens in the testicles and in the ovaries in humans. In the gonads of animals, the sexual organs of the organism. That's it. The bone is not the sexual organ, so it's not meiosis happening there, it's mitosis is happening there. Testicles this is a gonad, so it should be producing sex cells, and so it's not doing mitosis, it should be doing meiosis. Stomach, you're not making sperm or egg in your stomach, so that should be meiosis as well. Yes? All right, so how is meiosis related to sexual reproduction? Go, make a choice. You missed the test, you have a 0. Oh, you missed the quiz, you have a 0 on the quiz. All right, somebody give me an answer. See, meiosis produces sex cells that join to form new offspring during sexual reproduction. That is correct, right? Everybody has a problem with that? Let's look at B really quickly. Meiosis joins together sex cells during sexual reproduction to produce new offspring. Does meiosis join the egg and the sperm? No, meiosis is making the egg or the sperm. The DNA, the nucleus for the egg and the sperm, right? Remember, meiosis and mitosis are only about the nucleus, not about the cell itself. So you're not making a sperm or an egg, you're making the nucleus for the sperm or the egg. So, anyways, B is wrong, A is wrong, and D is wrong. The figure below shows a cell for an organism whose body cells have 4 chromosomes. And is that on the next page? Yeah. All right. So there's 4 chromosomes. What is shown in this figure? What do we have in this figure? Make a choice, guys. This organism should have 4 chromosomes. What does the figure show? B, 4 chromatids is correct. A chromatid is connected by a centromere. So there's one chromatid here, there's one here, and then you have a chromatid here and here. All right? So they're only showing 2 of the chromosomes, right? You're only showing chromosome 1 and 2 or whatever. So that's all you see. So you're only seeing really, so the answer is correct that you have chromatids, 4 chromatids, B. Not 2 chromatids because we just said we're showing 4, so that can't be true. 4 chromosomes, that's not correct. You're only seeing 2 chromosomes here. 4 chromosome pairs, obviously you're not seeing 4 chromosome pairs at all here. How does meiosis 1 differ from meiosis 2? Someone go ahead and make a choice. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer this. Let's do this one a little differently because this is actually a very tricky question. Letter A says sister chromatids separate during meiosis 1, not meiosis 2. Yes or no? No, it's false. It's actually opposite, isn't it? B, the homologous chromosomes pair up during meiosis 2, but not during meiosis 1. No. We said the tetrads, first of all, we said the tetrad, which is the pairing up. Remember we said, if you go back in the video, if you're watching this at home, and if you go back in the video and you look at the tetrad forming, that's this chromosome number 1 matching up with chromosome number 1 from mom and dad. Remember, we talked about that, where you have mom's chromosomes here and you have dad's over here. So even before crossing over, this tetrad, these are homologous chromosomes pairing up. This happens in prophase 1. That's the first step of meiosis. And then in anaphase, this pair here, this homologous pair, let me let me go ahead and cross them over, because that happens as well, right? Remembering that this stuff crosses over, then you have to remember that this pair here is going to move in that direction to that cell, and then this homologous chromosome number 1 is going in that way. So that's what happens during anaphase 1. You're not separating the sister chromatids, you're separating the homologous chromosomes. Yeah?
Okay, is a synapsis and a tetrad the same thing?
The synapsis is the connection in the tetrad. The whole thing is called the tetrad because you have 4 sister chromatids. The synapsis, which is what the book talks about, is this process of connecting them together. Synapsis, like snapping together. All right? So, homologous chromosomes pair up during meiosis 2, but not meiosis 1. That's not correct because it's actually the opposite, right? So it's not B, because this tetrad is formed during meiosis 1. 2 sex cells are produced as a result of meiosis 2, but not as a result of meiosis 1. Yeah, it's 4. It's actually 4 sex cells are produced, right? Chromosome numbers decrease by half as a result of meiosis 1, but not as a result of meiosis 2. That's probably what confused you. Is that right? I heard a lot of confusion, and you're like, what? That doesn't make sense. But this is a trick question. It's not really a trick question. This question is asking, do they understand the difference between sister chromatids and chromosomes? So right now, how many chromosomes do I have in this cell that I just drew here? 2 chromosomes. 1 chromosome here and 1 chromosome here. 4 sister chromatids, 2 chromosomes. At the end, I'm going to have 2 cells. Pay attention because it's going to be key. I can almost guarantee you're going to see a question like this on the test tomorrow. And the talking continues, but whatever. And so you're going to end up with this. Oh, I hate when I do that. You got to be kidding me. So you're going to end up with that. Now, how many chromosomes do I have in each of these cells? 1. Yes, I have 2 sister chromatids, and when I separate them, when I do cell division at meiosis 2, right? I do meiosis 2, I'm going to end up with 4 cells, not 2, right? 4 sex cells, whether they be 4 eggs or 4 sperm, whatever. I'm going to have how many chromosomes in each one? No. Now when they separate, they're not chromatids anymore. They're chromosomes. That's really a good point. See, that's the key. When they're together, we call them sister chromatids. When they've been separated, they're chromosomes. They never change. They're always one DNA molecule. It's just the sister chromatids represent the fact that they are exact copies of one another. After crossing over, they're no longer exact copies, but you get the point. So here you have that going on, and you have this going on. So when you went from meiosis 1, the end of meiosis 1, where you only had 1 each, right? And in the meiosis 2, you have how many? 1 each. It's just that at the end of meiosis 1, you have 1 each, 1 chromosome for each chromosome you normally have, but each chromosome has 2 sister chromatids. Here, you still only have 1 chromosome at the end of meiosis 2 in each one for each chromosome you do have, but you have 1 sister chromatid, not 2. Yeah.
So the proper term for when they're together is sister chromatids, not chromosomes?
No, it is a chromosome. The whole thing is a chromosome, but each one of these is a what? Sister chromatid. All right. It just makes it easier to talk. When I say sister chromatid, you know I'm talking about one of these 2 that are connected together. Where I say chromosome, it either is one of the 2 that either this number 1 or that number 1, or it's after they separate. Yes, question?
So if the 2 together is a chromosome, Mine's only one chromosome too.
Yeah, it's always a problem. It's just the way we define them. The two together, we call it a chromosome because they're moving along together. They have, again, they're copies of one another. While they're together, we're just going to call it a chromosome. When we separate them, we're going to call each one that's been separated a chromosome. That's it. Just got to go along with the nomenclature here. Otherwise, you won't understand what's going on when we talk about it. All right. So it is tricky. That was a tricky question. So if you got that one wrong on the exam, on the practice exam, I can understand why. I saw it was tricky, but I was like, I think that's good. I think it at least one tricky question. Brandy knows the chromosome that chromosomes behave differently in meiosis one and meiosis and mitosis. What do the chromosomes do in meiosis but not in mitosis? Quick. B. All right. The homologous pairs form a tetrad. They do synapsis. They form a tetrad. So it is B. Each chromosome makes a copy. Well, we know that doesn't happen during mitosis or meiosis, right? The copies are made during S phase of the cell cycle. Chromosomes line up in the middle of the cell. Well, that happens for both. They line up a little differently, but that happens for both. Chromosomes condense or shorten up before the cell division begins. Again, that happens in both. So, moving on. Which pair shows the number of cells present both before and after meiosis 2? Before meiosis 2, it's number of cells present before meiosis 2. The cells before meiosis 2 is how many? 2, and then after it's 4. So the answer is 2 and 4. And this is tricky only because they're asking for the cells, not the chromosomes. I can see how someone might get that confused. So obviously that's none of these are correct. Which of these choices is a product of mitosis? Is an egg a product of mitosis? No. Is a sperm a product of mitosis? No, it is not. Oops. Is a sex cell the product of mitosis? No, it's not. And is skin cells? Yes. If a sexually reproducing organism has 28 chromosomes in its body cells, how many chromosomes did it inherit from each parent? 14, half. Again, I thought 90% of these questions are really easy. Like they were like that. It's just the only problem is they were easy if you understood mitosis and meiosis, right? If you didn't understand mitosis and meiosis, then it's not easy. The diagram below shows a body cell with 4 homologous pairs of chromosomes. So there's 4 homologous pairs. Do you see it? We call this, by the way, just so you know, we call this a karyotype. So when you see the chromosomes and you organize them, we call them a karyotype. Are we clear? During sexual reproduction, how many chromosomes will this organism transmit to its offspring if it has 4 homologous pairs? How many chromosomes is it going to give to its offspring? Four, 2 pairs of homologous chromosomes. 4, 1 chromosome from each homologous pair. And you say C. Well, the answer is D.
Oh, because that thing that you just showed us.
Hey, because everything I just talked about.
With the one.
That's right. Meiosis 1 is going to separate the tetrad. Right? Where these are the chromosome 1, this is chromosome 1. And then meiosis 2 is going to separate each one of these into 1 chromosome in each. 1 chromosome each. For each kind, each chromosome number. So 1 for number 1, 1 for number 2, 1 number chromosome 3. So you have 4 cells, and each of them is going to have 1 chromosome for every pair of chromosomes that's in your body cells. Only 1. That's why we have it. Go back and look at the video and think about it. Go back and look at your flip book. Go back and look at your book. You'll see that it is clearly D. I wish we had time to go through it all again, but we just don't. Brandy knows that chromosomes behave differently in meiosis and mitosis. We already answered this, right? What feature of the cell makes it clear that the cell is undergoing meiosis? Each chromosome has made a copy. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that happen in mitosis as well? Homologous chromosomes have formed pairs. That is the one. It's the fact that you have a tetrad. If you see a tetrad, then that's the answer. But is this cell forming tetrads? Look at the picture. Do we see tetrads in here?
No.
So that's not happening here. So this is kind of a tricky question. B would be the answer if this showed that. So what I'm saying is that if you had a drawing that looked like this, right? We had one from mom, or one from dad, and the other one from mom. If you had that going on, then yeah, that would definitely be. Are you listening? But it's not. Chromosomes are lined up along the middle of the cell. I'm not sure that would explain that it's meiosis. The chromosomes have condensed or shortened and undergoing cell division. No, that doesn't make sense either. So, given the best choice, I have to go back and say it's B. Is that correct? Did you see what we just did there? We interpreted the question, we walked through, and we said, okay, I don't see a tetrad there. This is what I should see. I don't see the drawing, so I'm not going to choose B. But I get to the end, the best answer is what? B, so that's what I'm going to choose. That's how you have to do multiple choice exams. All right, move on. 15. Science teacher drew this a diagram of cell division. There it is. Do you notice something? Here's 2 chromosomes. You make copies. There are your homologous, right? There's sister chromatids, 2 chromosomes, sister chromatids. You separate them, and there's 1 chromosome in each for each of the 2, right? These are pairs, right? So this is chromosome. This is a chromosome 1. This is also chromosome 1. This would be the case for all 23 chromosomes. What kind of cell division is shown in this diagram? Quickly. It is D. Meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is here. Meiosis 1 is here. And meiosis 2 is here. And obviously the rest of these are wrong. What process does a multicellular organism use to replace a... Yeah. It's A. It's an easy one. Everybody should know it. If you're confused about that, come and see me during advisory after school. Which of the following statements correctly describes the function of cell division in unicellular organisms? I want to point this out. A lot of people got this wrong because they didn't understand this, right? Unicellular organisms. So cell division allows organism to grow. Unicellular, growing. Using mitosis? No, that's not right. Because cell division allows organism to reproduce. That is correct. It is B. Cell division allows organism to produce sex cells. They don't produce sex cells because they're only one kind. They're only a single cell. Cell division allows organism to repair damage to the cell. No. All right? Those other reasons are true for multicellular organisms. Are we clear? For animals, plants, fungi that are multicellular, that is all true. The diagram shows a cell during anaphase stage of mitosis. All right. And we did this one already, yes? Or not? Is this different? All right, so Justin's teacher showed a stage of mitosis. He noticed that it contains 2 homologous pairs of chromosomes. How would the diagram be different? Showed meiosis, anaphase 1 of meiosis. Each chromosome would still have 2 sister chromatids. No, that's the one we did. We did this, didn't we? So it is A. The rest are wrong. We're good? All right. Any questions so far? We're on 19. It's 52. Only got like 5 more minutes. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to finish all the questions. But in the next class, I will finish the rest of this test and then go back to the beginning. So, and then when I post it, you'll have all the answers. Why does cell division take place? And I also sent you a copy of this in your Jupiter grades, or I will in a minute. All right? Why does cell division take place in single-celled organisms? B, to reproduce. That's the only reason they do it. Single cell. You see, if you would have known that, what we talked about yesterday, you just would have had, and you should have known it, right? If you just put some thought into it. Which of these lists presents the stages of the cell cycle in the correct order? Interphase, mitosis, cytokinesis. A is correct. Remember, mitosis has many steps. Interphase has 3 steps. You have G1, S, and G2. But mitosis has many steps. If you remember that, that'll help you on tomorrow's test. So these are wrong. How would living things differ if cell division took place only for reproduction? A, all living things would be a single cell. And they were for a long time on Earth, so interesting. All right. Interphase is the longest stage of what process? Cell cycle is correct. Which of these statements is most likely describes what happens in DNA if DNA is not duplicating during interphase? The new cells would be more numerous. The new cells would have too many chromosomes. Again, DNA is, look, pay attention. DNA is not duplicated. So new cells would be numerous. That doesn't make any sense. New cells would have too many chromosomes. If you're not duplicating, you'd have too many chromosomes? That doesn't make sense. New cells would have too many or too few nuclei. Again, what? New cells would have an incorrect number of chromosomes. That would be correct. It's D. I thought that was easy. If that was confusing, you need to see me. I'm not kidding. You need to see me. We need to have a conversation. I need to help you. Before tomorrow. Allah uses a microscope to look at slides of onion cells. The slides show stages of the cell cycle. The slides are labeled in the correct order, starting with interphase. In which slide would Allah first see chromosomes? B, prophase. It's the first time we see it. Oops. The figure below shows the basic concepts of cell division. There it is. Basic. Boom, boom. Which of these statements best describes what happens when during stage 1? Stage 1. DNA is copied is correct. But wait a minute. Yeah, because they've already... Did it say cell division? Did this say cell division or cell cycle?
Cell division.
Well, to be honest, I want to say it's A, but if I were going to choose, I'd choose this one. Because you have to unwind it before you can duplicate it. Yeah. So DNA is then copied. First you have to unwind it, then you copy it, then you duplicate the nucleus. Or then you separate the chromosomes, then you duplicate the nucleus. Which of these phases of mitosis... This is actually a horrible question, by the way, but that's the best answer, I think. Which of these phases of mitosis takes place first? C. That's an easy... So then we got those easy ones down. Terrell uses a microscope to look at slides of plant cells. He sees cells with 2 nuclei. What phase is it in? It's in telophase. Which of these organisms relies on mitosis for reproduction? Single-celled organism, amoeba. You know these are multicellular, even if you didn't know that amoeba was a single-celled. And jellyfish is multicellular as well. All right, the figure below shows one of the stages of cell cycle. Which one? D, cytokinesis. You see how easy these are? The figure below shows stage cell cycle. Which two stages of cell cycle happen before the stage is shown in a diagram? What was it? B, interphase and mitosis happen before this. The rest of these are wrong. How does this multicellular organism grow? D, more cells. Are we clear on that? Again, most of these questions, easy as pie. Look, let's finish the last one. In what way is cell division important in keeping organisms healthy? Cell division replaces damaged cells with new cells. We're not doing the short answers. Give me my test back. And the answers are there. If you go look at, if you see, the answers are there with explanations. The answer. So when I send this to you, it'll have the answers as well with explanations. Okay? Yeah.
How do you want us to turn this?
What is it?
I'm gonna do it, Mr. Mendoza.
You too.